Okay, it's playing now. I can't hear it.
Of course. That whole thing.
Yeah, my wife's a nurse.
Sure, that's even worse.
She used to be a nurse. Yeah.
Try that.
Happens if.
I'm ready.
You're not, you're right.
Good evening, everyone. The hour being 7:05 p.m. on Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. I'd like to call to order the City of Laconia City Council meeting. Before we go any further, though, I'd ask if Chief Joubert would join us and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Chief. Joined this evening by City Clerk and our Recording Secretary, Katie Gargano. I'd ask her to please call the roll.
Counselor Cheney.
Here.
Counselor Susie.
Here.
Counselor Hoffman.
Present.
Counselor Haynes.
Here.
Counselor Bogert.
Here.
Counselor Felch.
Here. Here. We're also joined this evening by City Manager Kirk Biotti and Finance Director Glenn Smith. Let's see. I'm not gonna. Agenda item number 7A, the minutes of the Laconia City Council meeting of May 12th, 2025 were distributed to members of the City Council on May 19th. With no corrections or changes submitted to the clerk, the minutes will be accepted as distributed. 7B, which is the City Council budget meeting minutes of May 12th, 2025. Minutes of that budget meeting of May 12th were distributed on May 19th as well. Once again, with no corrections or changes submitted to the clerk, the minutes will be accepted as distributed. I'm going to move up on our agenda the Airport Authority, which is item number 21D in your packets. Agenda item 21D, lease agreements, the City of Laconia and Laconia Airport Authority. Currently, what you have before you are 5 lease agreements for land lease agreements that are before the Laconia Airport Authority. They've been reviewed by Laconia Airport Manager Marv Everson, as well as the members of the Airport Authority, as well as the hangar at 28 Airport Road, which is changing ownership with the buyer desiring a new lease agreement. We're seeking authorization from the City Council for the mayor to sign the 6 lease agreements on behalf of the City of Laconia. The fiscal impact, there is none. The city incurs no cost. The revenues generated by these new lease agreements are payable to the Laconia Airport Authority and applied to the operating budget of the airport. At the meetings of the Laconia Airport Authority on April 24th and May 15th, Laconia Airport Authority authorized Chairman Andrew Hausman to sign these 6 lease agreements. So right now, I'll be looking for a motion to approve with the mayor, Andrew J. Hosmer, or Kirk Biotti as city manager, to sign 6 new lease agreements for lots on the closed runway development as follows. Lot 1, Access 8 Hangars LLC. Lot 2, JT Properties LLC. Lot 4, Caro LLC. Lot 5, Belknap Aero Services LLC. Lots 7 and 8, EA Aircraft Storage LLC. So made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Haynes. Is there any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. On agenda item number 8, consent and action items. This is under concerts on Canal. We're looking for a temporary traffic order 2025-09. Daniel McLaughlin of New Hampshire Vintage Vinyl has requested the closure of Canal Street in connection with a series of Canal Street summer block parties. These events will be held on June 6th, June 20th, July 5th, which is Saturday, July 18th, August 1st, August 15th, and August 29th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The attached temporary traffic order requests closure of Canal Street beginning at 1 p.m. for each event. The organizer of the concerts has contacted all the businesses on Canal Street regarding closure of the street and has provided them with a schedule of dates and times of the events. A special events review committee approved this request at their May 7th, 2025 meeting. The organizer is requesting a waiver of city fees in connection with the events. If the fees are not waived by the council, the total fees incurred would be $550 special events fee and a $50 outdoor loudspeaker licensing fee. The staff at City Hall requests the City Council approve the proposed temporary traffic order as presented. Oh, hello. Hi. Right now, looking for a motion to move to approve temporary traffic order 2025-09 for concerts on Canal to be held on the dates as indicated earlier, to allow alcohol consumption on city property in the designated areas only, and to waive city fees in connection with the events as presented. So made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. Thank you, Dan. An agenda item 8B, temporary traffic order 2025-10, Laconia Motorcycle Week. This year's Laconia Motorcycle Week is June 14th through June 22nd, 2025. Temporary traffic order 2025-10 is attached in relation to the event. This traffic order, as presented, has been reviewed by Public Works, Laconia Police Department, and Laconia Fire Department. The staff does recommend approval of this. Right now, I'd be looking for a
Mr.
motion.
Mayor, if I could just throw one thing in before you approve it. I had a late request from Charlie St. Clair in the temporary traffic order under small letter A and then number 14. It's where it exempts certain vehicles from going down, emergency apparatus, all those. He would like the motorcycle week van to be added to that
Okay,
exemption list.
let's go back to the page. What page are we looking at?
On your agenda packet, it's going to be page 26.
Page 26,
Small letter A.
which is the first, the following are exempt from this order.
Yep.
And you would like to add to that and say what?
The motorcycle week van.
Oh,
It goes through anyhow we do, but just to add it to the TTO to be official. And the same thing would be added to number 14 on page 28. And he's here watching me to make sure I brought that up tonight, so I did, it's a good thing I did.
Would that mean he'd have to walk?
Yes.
okay. All right, so let's consider that motorcycle week van added to small a and 14. So right now, as amended, we're looking for a motion to move to approve temporary traffic order 2025-10 as presented for Laconia Motorcycle Week 2025. So made by Councilor Phelps, seconded by Councilor Susie. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Agenda item 9, which is citizens' comments for matters not on the agenda. If you'd like to speak to something that's not on the agenda, you don't have to raise your hand, you just step right up.
Good evening, I'm Dean Anson. I'm the chairman of the Laconia Conservation Commission. Deb Williams, the vice chair, is also here. And we'd like to discuss the jet ski races on Lake Opeechee. The Conservation Commission would like to express our concerns about having races here because we were not consulted during the decision to approve this special event, and we are concerned about the natural resources that could be damaged during the races. In addition, the Opeechee Preservation Association was also not contacted and not part of this discussion, and they are direct abutters to this event. So the city has spent thousands of dollars dealing with the invasive species on Opeechee, milfoil and other organisms. A portion of that cost has been paid for by the Opeechee Preservation Association as well as by the city. Over the past 15 years, the Conservation Commission and the Opeechee Preservation Association have worked together to sample the tributaries of Lake Opeechee, as well as to collect the deep water samples. So you can understand how important an asset the Opeechee Preservation Association is to the city and especially to the Conservation Commission. So the event planners estimate large numbers of jet skis to participate in the races. Some of the jet skis are forecasted to come from as far north as Canada. And when you introduce boats and other watercraft, jet skis, into our lakes, they bring other invasive species. And that's just another cost to us to deal with those if they're brought. So the event planner says that they will have inspectors to check their jet skis before they're launched, and we don't know what the qualifications are of those people that are gonna do the checking, make sure that there are no invasive species on the watercraft. The lake host that the city pays for at the Messer Street ramp are not being utilized to do this check. And I know what the qualifications of them are, those people are. And I also know what they are looking for specifically, because we've worked with these people for years. Deb Williams has been a lake host for a while. So at this time, as you know, the water levels in the lake are high. They're about 3 feet higher than normal. And our concern is that if we have jet skis going around a race course that they have identified, we're going to have erosion of the shoreland. That erosion can contribute to additional problems with regard to different phosphorus and other nutrients that get into the water and will cause things like cyanobacterial blooms. We don't want that. We don't want that, especially during the summer. So we're concerned about the erosion and the additional nutrient loads. So to do a check, the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services came out today and collected a water sample. And if we ask them to do it, they will come after the race and collect the same type of sample, same parameters, and compare the two and see if there's been a significant change as a result of the jet ski. The other thing that is being allowed is the jet skis are going to be allowed to launch from the beach. The beach back in behind the middle school. That's not how we launch watercraft here. We launch them from the Messer Street boat ramp. So our concern is the impact on the beach and the precedent that we could be setting that would give other people the idea that, oh, I can launch my jet ski from the beach too. We don't want that precedent to be set, because it will cause chaos in terms of our lake hosts checking to make sure that there's no invasive species. That, for starters, that'll do that. If the jet skis were launched from the Messer Street ramp, they have a short distance to go to the race course. I understand there's a logistical issue in that there's not a lot of parking at the Messer Street ramp, but if you could figure this out, if you're going to have jet ski races, you can figure out how to get the traffic in and out and dropping off their jet skis. So the special events notice of action had 7 items that needed to be satisfied before the applicant could receive a permit to launch, and I don't know if those have been satisfied or not. As I said, the Conservation Commission is not part of the, I think it was a TRC, to review this application. And our responsibility is to take care of the natural resources. And just like was said earlier, we are the city on the lakes. And if we lose Opeechee, Winnisquam's right downstream. So finally, the Conservation Commission and the Lake Opeechee Association are both extremely disappointed that we were not involved in the process of helping design and improve this application for a special permit. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Kirk, could you give us, where is this in where is this in the process?
It's gone through its special events. It's had its approvals with those conditions. And so I can give you an update a little bit better tomorrow but it has gone through all of its processes.
Would you be so kind as to circulate an update as to what was asked for?
Absolutely.
As well as what has been delivered?
Yep.
And specifically, why wasn't the Conservation Committee involved in this? If you could circulate that to the council, that would be just great.
I can do that.
I was going to ask you if you have any questions.
I think, I think
Question for the city manager.
we're all set, Dean. Thank you very much.
very much.
Okay, thank you.
This, is Opeachy, is that controlled by the state, or is that controlled by the city because it's all within the city limits?
State, it's
Still
still
state.
waterways, yeah.
It's still a state situation, okay. And that's why I was wondering if Marine Control's gonna be there, that was my.
I don't know if they're gonna be there, I'd have to look. They would have had to have been notified and have been called, so they don't always go to the events that are on the water, even if we have them. Sometimes they do, so it depends on a lot of factors, but
And when is
I'll add
this?
that to, I forget exactly when it is, Rob may know off the top of his head.
The event starts on Friday and it goes all the way through the weekend.
This weekend?
Yes,
Oh, it's this coming weekend?
yes.
Okay.
And,
So, as a, this was just never, this was never in the purview of the council?
It, technically, it went through its process as correctly done.
Mayor, I can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah.
I was at the Parks and Rec Commission meeting when this company, it's a company that does this, they're very professional. They had a video of everything they do. They go to a lot of different cities and towns to have these events. They do have somebody that knows exactly what they're doing, that's gonna inspect them, make sure they're cleaned off. They have actually a platform that they're gonna use for launching and bringing back in so the beach doesn't get damaged. They know what they're doing.
Well, I think I would agree with Dean Anson. Are we setting a precedent here that we can't get around in the future? I mean, the beach is for beach purposes, not for launching watercraft.
Well, I agree with that.
And that's also,
but
I mean,
we do events.
accommodating an out-of-state an
No,
out-of-city
actually,
business?
they're local.
They're local.
They
Are
are
they in
local.
the city?
Guilford, I believe, right around here. It's the local guy that owns the business. And we use other beaches for different events all the time. The beach, they have gates that are normally locked, so nobody would be able to get down to that beach anyhow.
Mr. Mayor?
So is this a for-profit company that's doing this?
Yes.
So they're using the public beach to run a business?
Were there any
To put
fees
on an
waived?
event for the city of Laconia.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. The first I've heard of it.
That they're not charging for anybody to go see.
Okay.
I wish there was more time, I'd have them come in and do the presentation for
Well,
everybody. And maybe I can get a copy of the video to send out.
I mean, maybe this was just never meant to come before the city council, but I think based on what we're learning about this right now, I have a lot of questions about it, and I don't exactly understand why we're doing this. I mean, we're setting precedent. We're relying on others to take care of the lake. We seem to be just setting up a special process for a private company here. I don't know what the benefit is to everybody in the city, quite frankly. I mean, I guess if you have an interest and you're on lakefront or you're gonna boat out there maybe, but
There's gonna be viewing from all around the lake. I think it's a neat event. I saw, like I said, I saw the videos of what they do, and
yeah, I have no doubt it's a neat event. Anybody's racing, it's gonna be neat. Everybody wants to see a good race or a crash or something. Or my concern is that we're closing off a public beach, and we're letting a private company go in there and run their business out of it. And I'm not sure what the benefit to the city really is right now. It
wouldn't
just seems
I wouldn't say running their business. It's like any event we have come to Laconia.
yeah, but we usually have some say in that, right? Maybe it's only
It
through
went through the
traffic.
process.
Huh?
It went through the process we had
Yeah,
set
well, I
up.
mean, our usually point of perspective is temporary traffic orders and street closure, things like that.
Right, which is,
Counselor Susie.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to propose, and I just bring it up, I know it would need to come to the full council again as a motion, but anytime there's an event and it has to go through the technical review committee, I think if that event touches any one of the wards, the city council from that ward should be notified, make sure he's up to speed on that event. So if these questions come up again, or he can be represented at that TRC, because I'm not sure if we are in most cases.
I think that's I think it's a process improvement we should take
Right,
very
that's
seriously.
what I mean.
And I am also concerned about the environmental quality of the lakes and the impact on this, and I don't know if that's something that, anyway, has it been vetted thoroughly so we can feel reasonably confident that it won't have a detrimental environmental impact on the lake?
The biggest asset we have in the city is the city on the lakes. The lakes
Just
is-
really,
It went through Parks and Rec Commission unanimously, so.
I still think it should.
fair enough. But I think that's probably a process improvement we can consider moving forward. Kirk?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yep.
Yeah, that we really should be letting people know. And, you know, we'll go back to some zoning issues that we've discussed recently too. The butters on the lake. I mean, this impacts their property, right? Is there something that we should be making sure that people who've made the type of investment are made aware of what's going on? That, you know, I think one of the concerns about racing on the lake, quite frankly, is no one else can use the lake in that particular area. I don't know. I think the council should be part of the decision process here, not just we're 5 days out, 4 days out, and we're wondering what the heck is this, and a lot of questions, not enough answers. I don't know where it leaves us, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking at you for a segue.
a segue. Yeah, the next agenda item. No, no, like you know, special events probably sees, and not that this is an excuse. Some months they'll see a dozen or more events that'll come through. You know, I certainly wouldn't argue with Dean to say maybe they could have been brought into the picture. There is a large group that does these. It hits multiple departments, as well as like these with the Parks Commission. Which did we miss a piece with the water with that? Maybe, but you know, certainly it hit the agencies that are responsible for the individual parts of the city. We can certainly take a look at a process improvement for certain events. I mean, you guys, you're certainly not going to want to see everything that goes there. But if they hits a certain benchmark, you know, there's always opportunities for improvements.
Yeah, I don't want to be. There's plenty of special events that I don't think need to come to council, right? But I think an event like this, common sense would say, if you're going to take over the lake and the beach for a day to run this, I think more people should be involved in the process because it does touch on wards, it touches on people's property. It prevents people from using the beach and maybe using the lake the way they would like to use the lake. I'm not going to say it's common sense, but I think we should dig a little deeper on some of these applications and just get some more input.
Yep. Very well.
Okay. Councilor Cheney.
Could I just add, it would seem to me that we could use the standard of what you've just said, if it affects other people or other organizations or whatever, like our traffic.
Yep.
Traffic moments. I happen to agree wholeheartedly with you, Mr. Mayor, and I would go one other step, and that is the counselor for the area where the thing occurred and the mayor.
Yeah, it's sort of like what Dan McLaughlin did, talked to all the businesses on Canal Street to bring them into the process. So it's not a surprise. I think we've gotten better at that over years. I think there's opportunity to continue to work on it. So, all right, we're still in the midst of comments for matters not on the agenda.
Hi, Deb Williams. Not to belabor the point, but it's a 3-day event, and they're also allowing camping at O-Pee-Chee Park for these contestants.
Oh, now we're going deep.
So I
No.
really feel like, I don't know why the event was approved. I mean, without any kind of discussion through you guys. But we're concerned.
That I don't remember being in the
That
middle.
was going a little bit larger than what we,
Amy Levisik, is she still here?
No.
I'd like to know if the chief is gonna be aware, you know, I mean.
No, we're gonna, okay, any other comments? from Matt?
One last one, Mr. Mayor. Perhaps we could get a list every month of the things that have come before that committee. Just a list. So if we have questions, we can do them at our meeting.
I still like
I
to
think-
see
I feel like we got blindsided on this, and
Yep.
this is not a good precedent to set.
So, suggestion would be for that committee to send their agenda to the city council.
Right.
And also, I believe the Parks and Rec Commission agenda should be sent to the council as well.
And whoever the counselor is that has been touched by that event,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I am liaison for Parks and Rec, and it went through Parks and Rec, but
Councilor Cheney has Ward 1, which is most of Opeachy.
I'm gonna move on from this. 'Cause I don't know if there's anything else counselors want to do on this, but I don't.
Not much we can do at this point.
Okay. Let's see. So we have just finished for comments not on citizen comments for matters not on the agenda. I'd like to quickly go to agenda item number 13A, which is a public hearing, resolution 2025 number 18, declaring Paugus and Prescott Avenues as emergency lanes until July 1st, 2026. Notice of this hearing was made available on May 14th, 2025, edition Laconia Daily Sun. Post at Laconia City Hall, Laconia Community Center, Laconia Public Library, and the offices of the SAU. Action on this item may be taken up under unfinished business later on this evening. So I'd like to open the public hearing at 7:33 PM. If anyone would like to speak to that, I'd ask you to please step forward now.
John McGuire, 83 Prescott Ave. I guess this is just to continue it as a fire road and trash pickup for now. Last fall, we had a majority of the people here on this panel say that we were going to go forward. The next meeting came and there was some verbiage issue, so somebody brought that up and then it disappeared. So we're still waiting to become part of Laconia, though I've been there 60 years paying taxes and assuming that we're part of Laconia. I think this fire road thing every year until we get it done is fine. I just don't know how the process fell apart last fall. And that's I mean, you were one of them. You said, no, common sense, common courtesy. You guys have been paying taxes. I've been there 60 years. Always paid my taxes. And one of many of these streets in this town that have been under this weird situation for 20 years. I've been dealing with the city and I've had mostly good response that it was going to happen. We just haven't gotten there yet. And I'm hoping this fire road trash pickup situation continues until we can fix it. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I'd like to close the public hearing on this matter at 7:35 PM. Moving on to agenda item number 14A, which is a presentation from the Mayhew program. And Peter Saliba, the executive director. Welcome, Peter. It's nice to have you.
Good evening, council. We're not here to talk about jet ski races or fire lanes or anything. This is simply just for your information. I'm glad to welcome my colleague Michael Liu, who's going to be part of the presentation tonight. And I apologize for my backside. My front side's the better part. But today I'm here to talk to you about the Mayhew program. A show of hands from the council. How many of you have heard of the Mayhew program? Really? What do you know about it, sir?
I'm part of the Greater Lakes Region Children's Auction, so I know a lot.
Oh,
I've
thank
actually
you.
visited.
Thank you.
Yes.
Other pieces, what do you know about the Mayhew program, sir?
As a former police officer, we used to have some of our kids that we would get into juvenile programs go try to participate in the program.
Great. That's fantastic. So I'm very happy to hear that there's some familiarity with you, because in our travels around the state of New Hampshire, we have discovered that not many people know about the Mayhew program. And if there's one thing I want you to leave with today, it's that Mayhew believes in boys before they believe in themselves. Okay, so when you go home tonight, you can say, oh, hey, I heard about this great program that believes in boys before they believe in themselves. My goal tonight is to tell you why we exist, what we do, and how we do it. Okay? Mayhew exists. Can they see my presentation?
We can right there.
You've got it right here, right? Okay. So Mayhew challenges and helps at-risk New Hampshire boys to believe in themselves, work well with others, and find their best. Okay, that's the mission of our organization. Since 1893, we have been in existence. Since 1969, when we became a nonprofit, we have served just about 2,400 boys from across the state of New Hampshire. In this region, we've got 7 different regions throughout the state. We have served 274 families and boys from the Lakes region and 129 from Laconia. Currently, we have 13 enrolled, and we have 3 more coming in for this year for the program. Mayhew exists to serve boys because boys are more likely to be homeless or food insecure. Boys are most likely to be kicked out of school, and boys are more likely to be diagnosed with a learning disability. Okay? These are some of the factors that are working against the boys in all across the nation, but especially here in New Hampshire. So this is why we focus on boys. When you look at the families that we serve, we have 2 broad categories or 2 broad attributes. The first is that our boys are near the poverty line, either just below or just above the poverty line. That's the first filter that we use. And then the second filter that we use is some at-risk factors. Okay, and you can see some of the at-risk factors that are on the screen right in front of you. Alcohol abuse, incarceration, domestic violence. These are the percentages of our families that are currently experiencing this right now. Boys coming from these families have lots of strikes against them. The graduation rate in New Hampshire for boys in these categories is 67%. Okay? A Mayhew boy has a close to 90% chance of graduating from high school. So we know what we're doing works, and we're super proud of it. How does Mayhew work? It's the elementary school counselors that refer boys to us. They are the ones who know their populations. They can identify boys who we can work with. We do a lot of education with those middle school counselors, and they refer kids to us. We also get referrals from the police departments, and private citizens can also make referrals also. But more than 95% of our referrals come from elementary school counselors. Mayhew's secret sauce, and we're the only program in the state of New Hampshire and one of 3 in the nation that do this, is we have a summer camp experience where our kids come to camp for 3 weeks, and we inculcate them into our 4 major values that we have at camp. And then we continue that education throughout the school year where our outreach workers meet with each camper, usually about once a month. And again, this is all around the state of New Hampshire. It's this combination of summer program and year-round mentoring experience that makes us possible. Because your average teenager forgets everything after about a month. Okay? The information retention studies show that if you're not constantly reviewing material, it's gone in about 3 or 4 weeks. So we're able to have this constant reminder. Another special part about Mayhew are our outreach workers who are scattered throughout the state in the different areas for the winter months. Okay, Michael is the Lakes Region outreach worker. He lives in Plymouth, but he serves the area of Laconia. Okay, those same people come to camp. So your camp counselors are the same ones that our boys see during the winter months. It's that continuity of relationship which adds another layer to our success. Our outreach workers function as an extra adult in a boy's life to make sure they're on the right track. We invite you to tell all your friends. What are you going to tell the people at home tonight when you go home? What's the one thing you're leaving with?
You believe in these boys before they believe in themselves.
Thank you, Mayor Hosmer. I appreciate that. We're asking everyone to invest in our boys. We take no local, county, state money. And we have a very small grant that comes from the FDA, hopefully, to cover our food costs. So we're privately independent. Our budget is $1.7 million a year. We have 15 full-time equivalent staff and upwards of 30 employees during the summer. And yet we make that work on $1.7 million. We'd like you to spread the word about corporate sponsorships and other event opportunities. And I would really like to invite members of the council to come out to the lake this summer. We're on the other lake. Newfound Lake. Don't tell anybody, but it's a pretty cool place, okay? I tell everyone to go to Winnipesaukee, of course. Okay? But we invite you to come out and see the magic that happens with our boys. And of course, there's lots of great opportunities to volunteer. Before I show you a short video, my colleague Michael here wants to talk a little bit about what we actually do. What's it like on the ground, first at the summer camp and then for the winter visits. Michael.
So Peter, just a quick correction for you. It's not just the winter, right? It's throughout the school year. So we have the fall, the spring, the summer, and the winter. It's year round. And what it is that I'm able to do, and oftentimes it doesn't feel like work, is I get to hang out with these guys and just provide them some reprieve from their home environment, right? Whether it be the summer camp environment where we are kind of implementing these systems that have never been seen for these guys and just showing them something, a way to do it different, right? We take those lessons that we are doing out on island back to the community year, and we foster this this relationship, and our hope is for them to graduate high school. And if they don't get that, whatever it is that they're aiming to do, we're here to kind of, not hold their hand, but, give them advice on, hey, I think this is my perspective on this thing. You're welcome to make that choice for yourself, but let's have this conversation, right? And this ability to kind of just be this person, this trusted adult, like Peter had said, is invaluable. And I don't know if you guys have been able to see that, but you probably have mentors in your life that have made an impact on your lives. And so what we're able to do is really just take the day-to-day, take it out of the home, and go about just it that way. But out on the island, the boys are 10, 11, 12 years old. They are in cabin groups, and that's their unit that they're living with, playing with, sleeping with. Maybe they're arguing with, right? But they're developing these social skills that are necessary for them to be able to kind of live out in the world. These systems that we're talking about, right? It's this, we build the island on this experience of positivity, right? So it's not, like Peter said once ago, it's not positive reinforcement, but it's unconditional positive regard. And, a lot of these boys might not be experiencing these things at home. And so when they experience that, they feel this connection to this community. And, that's our buy-in. Like, this is what we can offer. Aside from the camp and the structured system, it's, what goals are you looking to achieve outside of school? What kind of things can you do to get a job? Or, maybe things aren't going so well at home and I just need to talk. Or I'm hungry. Or I haven't had a decent meal in a little bit. But I know that Mayhew is going to be able to provide that for us. And that it feels good to be able to do that. But yeah, like Peter said, we are fully funded off of, the goodwill of others. And like Peter said, we're a well-kept secret, unfortunately. So that's why we're here today, kind of just let you guys know. We want all the help that we can get.
And one last thing, thank you, Michael. One last thing before I play the video. I want everyone to know that the definition of success is individual for each one of our boys. We have boys who graduate from our program and they graduate from high school and they're going to a 4-year college fully funded by somebody. Sometimes with us, from money from our endowment fund. Okay? But the kid who decides to become a plumber or an electrician or join the service, that is an individual definition of success. And we make it clear to them that they are the ones that get to define success in their lives. So we don't measure how good we are based on what our kids do. We measure ourselves on how well our kids realize their dreams. That is a special part of Mayhew. All right. I'm working with a city laptop here, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to play this very short video which gives you a sense of what happens on the island. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds. The goal of that video was just to get you to see boys being themselves and the kind of people they are when they're all together and having fun. Kids in this category don't get the chance to do that. That's the end of our presentation, and we'd be glad to take any questions that anyone may have about the Mayhew program.
Councilor Felch.
So I was privileged, and I mean privileged, to go out to their camp, see how the program works, sit down, have lunch with the boys. I'll tell you, if you get a chance, this program is awesome, and totally recommend checking it out.
Thank you. Thank you. It is special.
Mike, typical interaction with a Laconia family, a Laconia boy. What? Can you comment on that a little bit? Like, how do you get introduced? How do you see if this boy is the right fit, the right age? I mean, how do you get them from Laconia up to the camp?
Right. So as Peter discussed, we have a really close relationship with the schools. Laconia is one of our, for me in the Lakes area here, one of the strongest supporters of Mayhew. We are constantly we have a great kind of working relationship that that counselors kind of know what we're looking for in a sense. And so we have an initial kind of time of the year where we're asking for referrals. So we have, boys who might be struggling behaviorally, boys who might be lacking some self-esteem, so on and so forth. And so the schools and the community members provide this list for us, and then we kind of get to work. We call the families to set up an in-person, at-home interview where an outreach worker like myself goes to the home and, tells the boy and the family about camp. And we don't force the guys to come out. We want them to be able to see themselves and be successful at our camp. And so from there, we kind of assess the pool and we make decisions based on who we think would be a good fit. And oftentimes it's hard to tell like what you're getting from an hour interaction with a boy. But it's just like, again, like Peter's saying, we see the best in them before they see themselves. And like the more you do it, you kind of just, when the boys light up about this opportunity to climb or to swim and just, kind of be themselves, you can kind of figure out like which boys are going to be, or hopefully which boys are going to be successful. But yeah, we just kind of make sure that we are kind of doing our due diligence. We go to the homes to try to assess the home environment. It certainly plays a factor. And then just for myself, like how convenient is this boy for me to go on visits with, right? So I'm not only in the lakes, but I'm in the North Country, so I have to kind of manage my time and space. And is this going to be too out of the way to get someone out here? Or, the bulk of the guys really are in this Laconia area because it's, just so easy to find things outside to do. Yeah.
And so when a boy is selected and wants to go, what's the cost to the boy or the family?
$0.
What's the
Sometimes they-
follow-up after camp program? Sorry, Peter. I mean, any cost at all?
No, there are no costs except for time and commitment on the part of the boy and the family. Additionally, we do have boys that show up with the clothes on their back and 3 pairs of underwear, and we give them everything for camp. So this is truly a zero-fee program for boys in this situation. Talking about the admissions process or the selection process for our boys, we can only serve about 1/3 of the boys who are referred. And that's because of space and budget. And as a board, we're always looking at ways to expand the program, but it's directly related to the resource, and I'm highlighting that only because the need is so great for programs like ours.
Any other questions or comments for our presenters? Thank you very much, Mike and Peter, for taking time to do a presentation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the time.
Great work.
Have a good
Great
evening.
work, and thank you.
Okay.
Moving on to the mayor's report. I will just say, very briefly, we last week concluded the Citizens Committee, Ad Hoc Committee on Housing, and I want to thank the group was led by Councilor Hoffman. I want to thank Councilor Cheney, Councilor Susi for their work and their input. I want to thank city staff for giving us a backbone of information and data that was necessary to move the discussion along. And all things being equal, I think the board did an outstanding job in assessing a challenge that we have in the city, which is housing, and whether the option proposed was the right option, right place, right time, so on. We were able to, I believe, as a city, and make a better informed decision about what we should do about this overall challenge of housing. I appreciate all of the input that came in, and we were no longer meeting. There may be some information provided to Councilor Hoffman that will be shared with all of you, which is some feedback from council members, from the committee members. But it was overall, I think we gained an appreciation of other perspectives. Hopefully there was an appreciation for some of the data that was shared as well. We're not ready to make any bold steps forward at this point in time in the city in this regard, but that's okay. We'll keep looking for solutions to a very vexing problem. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to council for council comments. Councilor Haynes.
Thank you, Mayor. Just very quickly, I'd like to thank Councilor Hoffman, Councilor Felch for joining in at Veterans Square, the Memorial Day celebration. It was well attended. And if I could add, again, many, many thanks to the people in the Congregational Church that are responsible for the flags. The display is very well, very well done and appreciated. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. So, I just want to bring up the Weirs docks that have been pretty much completed. They got a couple of fine-tuning things to do, but they were packed this weekend. The word on everything on social media is amazing. For the docks, that is.
I said that.
And there will be a ribbon cutting on June 6th. I believe it's at noon.
Brilliant. Thank you. Councilor Susi.
Just to carry on from what Councilor Felch had to say, when are we gonna take up the parking meters? We have to pay parking on Lakeside Avenue, they should pay parking on the docks. My next item, which is really, really.
Stop
long.
taxing people. Stop taxing.
You always have to ask. My next item is something that's more, I think, pressing, and I'm glad that the chairman of the planning board is here and also our planning director. Because one of the things I want to bring up, and either I need more education on it, impact fees. I understood last week that the planning board reduced impact fees to a for-profit developer 80%. And I understand too, like listening earlier this evening from our Parks and Recs department, she plans on using impact fees. And I think we, as a council, need to take some action here when it comes to impact fees. We shouldn't be turning around and wiping them away. We need those funds, number one. When those impact fees are not being paid, we're putting the burden on the rest of the city taxpayers to take care of all those other needs that we have that those impact fees are supposed to be helping with. I think the planning board is acting too independently and not listen. We need to review whatever the guidelines are, understand it, and put a stop to this. I can understand waiving impact fees when it comes to nonprofit organizations, but when it comes to a profit organization or a developer, those impact fees we need to help the other projects within the city. I'm not sure if it's covered under statute or where it comes from, but I'd like, if it comes up through the council, then the Government Operations Committee, somebody needs to start looking at this and get it under control. Thank you.
You'll be, if I may, Mr. Mayor, as soon as the impact fee study is done, whatever we choose to set for rates, that does come back to you. So what we can do is we can package the whole impact fee setup together so you see everything and can weigh in on everything that, you're allowed to weigh in on and make any changes. So we can do that.
Okay. I just want to, I think the people are acting too independently and not realizing that those funds are needed. And secondly, they're putting the whole rest of the burden on the rest of the taxpayers with no say. So thank you. Thank you, Mr.
This is not reflective of you by any means, Councilor Susie. People need to show up.
Oh,
Speak up, right? I mean, that people need to show up and speak up about some of this stuff. So I think the planning board would appreciate, I know their meetings are pretty long anyway, but, more input from people who have an opinion about this. And we don't get enough attendance, quite frankly. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you, Councilor Susie. It was good stuff. Anybody else? Councilor Genie, all set?
I am, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor, go right ahead.
Yes, I had mentioned this on several times, the takeoff of Councilor Susie. I wholeheartedly agree with you. And I had made mention to the city manager on several occasions that maybe we should have a joint meeting between the city council, the planning board, the zoning board, the conservation committee, and the planning department, and have a discussion about our thoughts and feelings. And it can be a public meeting, but it'll give us a chance to all have a talk together.
Our intent is to do that with the kickoff of the master plan update, because it does include you and planning and zoning and everything. So that was kind of the intent. That was just the only reason we haven't done it yet. We certainly can set something up beforehand, but that was the thought process of doing it so your voice is heard to the steering committee, as is planning, as is zoning. So that was just why we haven't done it as of yet.
Thank you.
Any liaison reports? Seeing none. 19, citizens request to comment on current agenda items. If there is someone here from the public who'd like to speak to a current agenda item, now would be the appropriate time. Seeing no one, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
2 documents with you tonight. Project update, I'm just going to move through relatively quickly, but you'll note that the road projects are starting to kick in as soon as the rain stops. But at least a little bit of nice weather, and the roads are listed there. Probably the one that's the biggest point of emphasis would be the White Oaks Road Sewer Extension Project. They're gonna have that done for Bike Week. So, we try not to do any of our main roads during that time, and that one's included on there as well. Most of these are unchanged. I'm gonna skip over to the second page of the document. Hilliard Road Culvert Crossing, they're just waiting on some feedback from the engineers, but we have identified the funding share for that, which is our piece, and we have the federal funding as well, so that project will be able to move forward without problems. And the same thing with the Weirs Boulevard project, the bridge in Langley Cove. That, again, we've identified a funding source for that, for our share and the federal share as well. The O-Pee-Chee Loop is on the agenda tonight, so I won't get into it too far, because we're actually gonna talk about that in a little bit. The TIFs have been meeting, at least downtown in the Weirs. Downtown has selected a contractor, so they'll be doing their work with the beautification of downtown that you guys approved not that long ago. In the Weirs, the biggest thing that came out of that, and I know Councilor Felch is part of that. I wasn't part of the meeting, but I know he is part of it, is they are looking at doing their request anyhow, is going to be to put a bandstand on the boardwalk on the old section. So if you look to the Mount Washington Dock to the left side of that, it's in its very, very early stages of having any discussion on it. We know that there's engineering questions that we would have. There's also some other logistical things, but it was a point of emphasis during their last meeting. Skipping, I think I'm going to the last page now. Councilor Felch did mention the Weirs Beach Dock rehabilitation, and you all are invited to that June 6 noontime ribbon cutting ceremony. And the last thing is the Laconia State School update. I mentioned this last time, I believe. Within the week, you'll have a draft version of an MOU between the state school developers and the city, just to discuss some housekeeping type issues that we are able to. This is what we're looking for, this is what they're looking for, and just really start to have those ground level conversations. We've been working on it for quite a while. Our attorneys have worked on it with their attorneys. So I think we have a good document. It's a simple document, but it does hit some highlights, and it protects the city on a certain avenues that we want to have as part of that. So you'll get that. It'll be coming up for our council meeting agenda, but we'll get that to you in a lot of advancements so you can read through it. And the group is still working through the planning board and the technical review committees. They're coming up with their for their property, their master plan, master development book. It'll be multiple books, but it's basically an advanced conceptual plan. So we know what's going in there. I've seen some drafts of it, as well as another document that they're producing, which just got today as a draft version. And it really explains what type of structures they're looking to put in there, how much housing, all those sort of questions that we have rumors on, a little bit more solid documents. So as soon as all that gets processed, you'll be seeing all that as well. And I think that'll help answer a lot of questions.
Any questions for the city manager?
I have one quick one, Mr. Mayor. With regards to the docks, I've had several different people speak to me about commercial boats using the dock, and I think you and I had a conversation about this. And as I understand it, either the ordinances or statute prohibit the use of those docks for commercial purposes. I would like to ask if in the process we could put up signs indicating that commercial use is not allowed.
Yeah, we can do that. We have nothing right now. We've only had a few contracts over the years, so nothing official that you guys have approved, and those are gone. So we don't have anything. I will say I've been contacted by other communities on the lake. They're dealing with the same thing, so they've been asking, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?" So it's kind of commonplace, but they're trying to do the same crackdown as you guys, as you're just mentioning.
Signs on the farthest out pier.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Would
to
be
add to that, any of the dock rules that should be posted, to have a nice sign that says what the
Can't stay
rules of the
overnight.
docks are, yeah.
Yeah, we can add some signage. We don't. Yep.
No horseplay.
No horseplay. Okay. We can add some signs.
Okay.
The only other thing I have is I'm going to skip to the second page of the CPI number. just over 2.6% for the year annualized out, so we're still very early, but it's there.
Just quickly, the Weirs Beach sign, does that fall under the city's jurisdiction?
Yep.
As you approach Lake Street, that sign, there's multiple lights out
Okay.
on that flashing sign.
And I-
We only pay the electric bill. The Weirs Action Committee is totally responsible for the maintenance of it.
Okay, that's
But
what I
but
was,
we can follow up with it
Okay.
anyhow. We can take care of that,
this was
so.
obvious that there was
Yeah.
multiple lights
Yeah,
out.
we can,
It's been discussed both at the WAC meeting and the TIF meeting. They're aware, they're waiting for a sign company. to
Fair
come.
enough.
Yep.
that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. The WAC is a funny name. Right, but it's just Weirs Action Committee. It's funny when it comes out. Pause.
Woman's on it.
Right, there you go. All right, Kirk, would you walk us through, I'm gonna just run downstairs for a second.
Yep.
Can you walk us through 21A, and we'll come back into the motions?
Yep. 21A is, this is the program that, the grant that Laconia Police Department received, that has, I think you're aware that we've had the Prevention Enforcement Treatment Officer, Eric Adams, for a number of years. And his program has become so successful that he's been asked to go other places and implement and work on helping other departments implement this. We have received a grant to backfill his position, so the city of Laconia doesn't lose anything. They backfilled his pet position as well as the officers that were needed to fill those that are filling his role. The grant has run out, or is running out. Apparently there was some more money in there. They were able to secure more funding. So this is receiving more money from this grant and extending it out at least another year. Because it's new money coming into the city, there's 3 motions on there for you to schedule a public hearing and then take it up on June 9th.
Okay. All the mail's gone, I'll just pick it up. Okay, before you, there's 3 motions. First motion is I move to waive the reading of Resolution 25-19 in its entirety and read by title only. Counselor Cheney? Counselor Feld, second it. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Mayor, it's back to you.
Second one?
Second one.
Looking for a motion to move a first reading of Resolution 2025-19, request to approve an amendment to the previously approved accepted comprehensive opioid stimulant and substance abuse site-based program grant. So made by Counselor Felch. Is there a second? Seconded by Counselor Haynes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. At 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Finally, on this matter, looking for a motion to move to schedule a public hearing on June 9th, 2025, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes as well. Agenda item number 21B. This is in regards to ordinance 2025-167-2, 167-3, amending Chapter 167 noise, Section 167-2, certain noise restricted, and Section 167-3, sound equipment. This was requested by Counselor Haynes. The Government Operations and Ordinances Subcommittee met on January 30th, 2025, to review the city's noise ordinance following a concern voiced by a constituent. Following language is suggested to be incorporated into Chapter 167 of the noise ordinance as reflected in the attached ordinance. The suggested language is as follows. Quote, "It is unlawful to operate or start and run any high-noise device, mechanical or otherwise, that is involved in excavation, exterior building construction, and landscaping in residential zoning districts during the following time periods: Monday through Friday prior to 7 a.m. and later than 8 p.m., Saturday through Sunday prior to 8 a.m. and later than 7 p.m. City agencies, planning board approvals with construction agreements, and snow removal devices, including snow blowers and plows, are exempt from this provision. Additional exemptions from these restrictions may be approved at the city manager's discretion upon written request and will be considered on a case-by-case basis." Close quote. There's no direct, immediate fiscal impact to the city. City manager recommends the council approve the proposed ordinance and schedule a public hearing. On this matter, we have a series of 3 motions. First is to waive reading of the ordinances 2025-167-2, 167-3 in its entirety, to read by title only. So made by Councilor Cheney, second by Councilor Haynes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Next, we're looking for a motion to move a first reading of ordinance 2025-167-2, 167-3, amending Chapter 167 Noise, Section 167-2, certain noise restricted, and Section 167-3, sound equipment. So made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Finally, on this matter, looking to move to schedule a public hearing on June 9th, 2025, during the regular city council meeting to gather input prior to any action being taken. So made by Councilor Hoffman, seconded by Councilor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative. That motion passes. Moving on to agenda item number 21C. Proposed amendments to the wage and compensation plan. Kirk, would you just take a stab at this?
Yep, so this is one of 2 parts, so you're gonna see the second part will come at a subsequent meeting. Our wage and compensation employees are our employees that are not covered by collective bargaining agreements, so not recognized by one of the unions. Each year, we try to match the COLAs, the cost of living adjustments, with what the unions receive. So this first piece that you're receiving today is the COLA increases, which would be the 4% this year, and then the 2 to 4% each of the next 2 years, mirroring the union collective bargaining agreements that were approved over the last few weeks. The other inclusion in this is on number 5 on there. It does increase the grade 25, which includes fire chief, finance director, and public works director as well, which is what we talked about. So that's what this one is. The next one you're going to see it in a subsequent meeting will include those non-salary thing, the vacation, personal time, that type of stuff. That'll be coming to you at a different meeting.
Okay. Go right ahead, Counselor.
A question. Are the current numbers that you're proposed in here reflected in the current
Yes.
budget?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Right now, I'll be looking for a motion to move to approve the proposed amendments to the wage and compensation plan as presented. So made by Councilor Cheney, seconded by Councilor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. We've already completed item 21D previously. Move on to 21E, which is a request to use non-capital reserve funds for purchase of a replacement motor for the Laconia Fire Department Boat 1. On April 29th, 2025, Laconia Fire Department Boat 1 sustained catastrophic engine failure and is not repairable. Boat 1 is responsible for covering emergencies on Lake Winnipesaukee and Paugus Bay. It is Chief Joubert's belief that the city needs to provide emergency response to these 2 bodies of water due to their size and high recreational activity levels. Chief Joubert has researched all possibilities to determine the quickest and most financially feasible way to return Boat 1 to service. His recommendation is to replace the unsalvageable motor with a new 4-stroke motor with a not-to-exceed price of $30,000. To access the reserve accounts, the council must hold a public hearing and vote to approve. Following the council's approval, the request would be sent back to the trustees of the trust funds for their acceptance. Fiscal impact is up to $30,000, which will cover the cost of the replacement motor. If all $30,000 is used, it will leave $232,443.94 in the capital reserve account. City manager recommends sending this to a public hearing on 6/9/25. If the boat's out of commission right now, right?
Correct. Yes.
So if an emergency were to occur, what boat would we use to access an injured party?
Probably, I won't speak from Meredith and Guilford. I mean, realistically, they do have the towable boat, which really isn't appropriate for that lake during, high summertime seasons.
Sure.
So I think, if I remember correctly, a new boat was on the fire department CIP list.
It is.
So are we looking to spend $30,000 on a boat that's already inadequate for what they'd like to do with it?
The boat, looking for price right now is between $500,000 and $700,000. So it, to be able to keep this going for I still think the boat, he's welcome to speak on it, but I think the boat is still in condition that this will get us a few number of years ahead to be able to continue using it.
Okay, thanks.
Two questions, really. I see boat one. We only have one boat, right, Chief?
The other's a 13-foot towable boat and inflatable boat.
We only have one boat. Okay. And then second question. I noticed you put on here, Pogus Bay and Lake Winnipesaukee. What happened to Opeechee? And would we also use this same boat to cover the Laconia section of Winnisquam?
So for those smaller bodies of water, we use the towable boat, the 13-foot inflatable boat.
Winnisquam is pretty big.
It is. I could potentially see in the future Boat 1 relocating to Winnisquam with the growth and development, including the state school property.
That's where I'm headed.
Yes,
Okay.
I could see that happening.
Okay,
That's what I would
thank you.
recommend. That's what I would recommend in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chief, if this all goes through as we're doing, how soon can this boat be serviceable?
So my hope is that it would be serviceable in June. It'd be back in the water sometime in June, maybe the last week of June. It's going to take some time to retrofit it because you're going from a 2-stroke system to a 4-stroke system. So the installation will be kind of timely. But talking to the marina, I think it is definitely doable.
Okay. As the activity picks up right now in the lake, it just seems that we have a gap there. We have a service gap right now.
We definitely have a service gap, and I've researched all opportunities from renting a boat for the season, and I think operationally, this is the best way for us to go.
Okay, Councilor Susie.
One last question.
Yes.
Talking about boat and operations, how about this coming weekend with the jet skis? Are you going to be on duty for that?
So we will have, yes, so we're aware, I've spoken to the organizers of the event, and we have an operational planner for that. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. So right now, I'll be looking to move to schedule a public hearing on June 9th, 2025 during the regular city council meeting regarding this request to use non-capital reserve funds for purchase of a replacement motor for Laconia Fire Department Boat 1 in an amount not to exceed $30,000. So made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Susie. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Next item is item number 21F. Resolution 2025-20, approval of bonding to fund the construction of Opeechee Loop, Section A. Kirk, would you lead us through this a little bit?
Yeah, this is a project that Council Felch and I have been working on with the Wild Trail organizers as part of it, the city as part of it. This is the section of, there's going to be a section of Lakeport between essentially Union Ave and to Franklin Street that's going to have a renovation to it. It'll be the Wild Trail extension into that area. There's going to be a lot going on there. Part of it we know is going to have some private funding to it. Part of it, excuse me, part of it is going to be ours. If you recall, probably 2 years ago now, a Northern Borders grant was awarded. City has a share in that. We were able to identify our money in that. Timing, the ability to get this project off the ground, there's been a lot of reasons. Costs have gone up, and we're not able to get any more money out of the grant. We didn't want to lose this project. We think it's a really good project. With the change in the Lakeport TIF over the last couple of years, where the increments are improving and increasing each year, we thought that similar to what we just did with the Weirs Dock project would be ideal to be able to do here as well. It fits in exactly what TIF is designed around, and we think we can. Well, we know we can afford this through TIF and pay for it that way.
Any questions for the city manager before we move on to a motion? Okay, so it's a series of 3 motions. First is motion to move to waive a reading of Resolution 2025-20 in its entirety, read by title only, so made by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Susie. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Next on this matter, looking for a motion to move for first reading of Resolution 2025-20 relative to authorizing bonds and notes of the city in the amount of $610,000 to fund construction of the Opeechee Loop Section A project. So made by Counselor Felch, second by Counselor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes as well. Finally, on this matter, looking for a motion to move to schedule a public hearing on June 9th, 2025, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes as well. Moving on to agenda item number 21G, temporary traffic order 2025-11, Laconia Pumpkin Festival. This year's Laconia Pumpkin Festival will be on Saturday, October 25th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Temporary traffic order 2025-11 is attached. You've all had an opportunity to review it, hopefully. This temporary traffic order was reviewed by the Police Department, the Fire Department, Planning Department, Department of Public Works. Kirk Beati, the city manager, has submitted this to us and recommended that it be passed. Right now, I'm looking for a motion to move to approve temporary traffic order 2025-11 for the 2025 Pumpkin Festival as presented. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes as well. Right now, under agenda item number 22, under unfinished business. Agenda item 22A, declaring Paugus and Prescott Avenues as emergency lanes until July 1st, 2026. Hope you have all had an opportunity to read the document in front of us. I think we know what this is about. We've been working on it for quite some time. Be happy to move to vote right now if you like. If there's an objection. So this is a motion. Right now, the first proposed motion is a motion to move that the City Council approves Resolution 2025-18, declaring Paugus Bays as emergency lanes with an expiration date of July 1st, 2026. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Also for your consideration is the potential motion to move that the City Council approve an exception to City Ordinance 194-4-B and allow the city's solid waste collection contractor to collect solid waste at the curb on Prescott and Paugus Avenues during the period the 2 roads are emergency lanes. So made by Counselor Felch, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes as well. Agenda item number 22B. This is in regards to ordinance 2025-235-13, 42, amending chapter 235 zoning relative to Article 2 definitions and word usage, sections 235-13 definitions, Article 7 supplementary provisions, 235-42 non-residential uses, and attachment 2 table of permitted uses. Kirk, could you touch on this for us, please?
So this is related to casinos. As I think you knew, we had a lot of requests. A few requests, a lot's not the right word, but a few requests to open up an area in the city that allows for casinos. I think there was some opportunity to fit it into somewhere, but we didn't want to do that. We want to make it its own standalone. If we're going to approve it, let's approve it correctly. This went to planning board for their review and approval. They made some adjustments to it, and now it comes back to you guys for whether or not you want to hear it, have a public hearing on this. Essentially, the areas of it would be Weirs Boulevard and both Endicott Streets. One of the things that came out of planning board was if you want to move it down Lakeside Ave as well, there's a pretty significant intentional hurdle that put in where the driveways would have to come off of Endicott Street. So it was done on purpose, so Lakeside Ave wouldn't just become the casino strip, and that's what we have down there. So that was added into the one for your consideration. And again, what we're looking for tonight is a public hearing on it. We had tabled this a while ago, so it's on your table. Because the intent was to make sure that the residents who are seasonal could be here for the public hearing.
Go right ahead, Counselor Susie.
Does this take the
does the city council have any more say? In other words, if we pass this zoning and somebody wants to put casinos in, is the city council then no more authority, no more, there's nothing else approved? The planning board again is, taken over control and said, yes.
As long as it meets all of the requirements that fit under the zoning and planning and this, yeah.
So the city council has no
Unless
say
he-
after
unless it's
this?
something different. I mean, he's worked with I look at Rob, he did work with the lawyer quite intently on this, but
No, this falls under the purview, this would, if the city council was to adopt this, it would fall under the purview of the planning board, just like any other development.
I have concern over that. Because the citizens of Laconia, we represent them and they're voted by us. We're voted in office to represent them. The planning board doesn't work that way. And as I've seen on the impact fees, they operate very independently. And, where's the citizens' input? I know.
that's not his answer to.
Is there any desire to take this off the table?
Yes.
Counselor, go right ahead.
A question, I noticed that you mentioned that this was not to be on Lakeside Ave.
Correct.
So any of the
Don't we have to take this
businesses
off the
up
table
on the
first?
Yeah, we're
upper
gonna take it
end
off the table. Yeah.
would not be able to have a casino or anything like that? Only property that is on Endicott?
Correct. Originally, that wasn't part of the discussion, but when it went to planning board, that was a concern that they had, and they did get a workaround in it. You could, in theory, purchase enough land to get a driveway in and do all that, but I mean, it's a significant hurdle if somebody tried to do it on Lakeside Ave.
So
And
I think
what was
where we're at right now.
Point of order, yeah.
We got it, the items on the table, it's not open for discussion necessarily. I think the first, if you'd like to take it off the table and continue the discussion, we can certainly do that. So is there a motion right now to take it off the table? So made by Counselor Felch. Is there a second?
I'll
Made by
second.
Counselor Haynes. Any discussion on that? I don't think there is necessarily. All those in favor of taking it off the table, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4 opposed. 4 to 2. The item is now off the table. So I guess we can still discuss it now. It's off the table. Go right ahead. Counselor Bogart, finish up if you like.
So I was just curious what the philosophy behind the planning board in saying nothing on Lakeside and everything on Endicott.
I can answer that. I'm the one who pushed the idea of not allowing traffic on Lakeside Ave. Doesn't mean they can't walk down there. It just means they can't enter a casino from Lakeside Ave. They'd have to do it off of Route 3.
So if I could clarify what you're saying, they could park on Endicott Street if they had a parking lot and then stroll over to a casino on Lakeside.
Right.
As long as there was no driveways onto Lakeside, they could have a casino. They would have to provide parking. Some of the things I saw where people were talking about off-site parking, given how many people, but we didn't want them going down on Lakeside Ave.
One follow-up question?
And that I would just say that does kind of contradict a little bit what I said, but I appreciate the follow-up because we will just work on the verbiage for that as well, clarify it.
If I may do one follow-up.
Sure.
So there's rental parking spaces up along, what is it now, North 70 or whatever I noticed on the upper end of there, they have pay-by-app parking. So would a casino on Lakeside be able to utilize the pay-by-app parking up on Endicott Street?
I would assume.
And qualify then for a casino?
The question becomes time limits on the parking.
So let me add a little to that. Both entities that were interested in opening a casino on Lakeside Ave, neither one of them want to anymore. A casino would also want their own parking. So doubtful that any would ever open up on Lakeside Ave.
Right.
As configured today.
Right.
So I have some serious concerns about this. Like Councilor Susie said, this might be the only say we have into whether or not we allow casinos in the wares. And I think we really have to consider this carefully. This is a big change to that neighborhood. This is going to really affect the future of that neighborhood. And not that I don't trust the planning department, but if this is the only say we're going to have in this, I think it's going to be a no for me. So I did a little research on this because I was kind of torn. You always hear about casinos. They're going to add jobs. They're going to, add economic development to an area. There's potential tax revenue. But I really dug into it. Has that ever worked, right? Is there a city out there that's like, man, we built that casino and we really turned things around? I could not find one. And I've been to Springfield, Massachusetts.
Hey, cutting close to the bone right here. Just saying. Go ahead.
I guess that's my point, that I don't think this is a good idea. And if this is the only say that we're going to have over it is amending the zoning, then I'm going to say
I might suggest that the council has the ability to move this to a public hearing.
Sure.
We could do multiple public hearings, then there'd be an opportunity to put this back on the table if you wanted to, and not move forward on it, but.
Understood.
So I hear what you're saying, but I don't.
I don't want to hear what the public has to say.
Absolutely. I don't want to gum
So
up the entire
I'm
process.
for that, and maybe
but-
even scheduling multiple public hearings for something as neighborhood altering as this. I
Sure.
would be up for that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
I'd also like to understand two things. Number one, Tony, and I agree with you, excuse me, the only place I could see where there'd be a casino is Fun Spot. Okay? That's the only place, and I wish my wife's father still holding that property. And then secondly, is that I'd like to understand the revenue stream. Councilor, you talk about the city gaining, I see Concord gaining plenty, but I sure don't see the city gaining any revenue stream from this. Okay? So I'd like to understand all of those things, but I'm with you. Right now, I don't want to turn Laconia into Atlantic City.
It's the New Hampshire way, though. We generate all the money here and just goes to
It goes all
Concord.
south,
Yeah, it goes
right,
to Concord,
exactly.
we get pennies
And I
for
hope
it.
the state legislature someday listens to the.
Never happened.
Never.
Don't hold your breath.
Are you kidding me?
Counselor Cheney.
Seeing how it's a separate ordinance, I don't know why we can't say it has to come back to the city council. If it's a separate ordinance.
I don't like giving the planning board this authority.
But what I'm saying is, if we add in there, planning board review and approve and give it to the city council.
For the
this
final
ordinance.
approval.
For final approval?
I would have to check with legal to see whether that's, because it is being, it would be adopted into the zoning ordinance. And I think statutorily, there's only,
Mr. Mayor.
You want to put it back on
Reason
the,
to table.
Non-debatable.
so you've just made a second move to put it on the table. Motion is to put it on the table. Is there a second? Non-debatable. All those in favor of tabling this, will you please indicate by raising your hands. Opposed? 4-2, the item's back on the table.
I just want to wait for him to talk to legal.
Started the public hearing, and it's
I
2
did
weeks
too.
away, so,
But I'd rather at a public hearing be able to say,
On the table.
well, I'm sure he'd know.
Just
within
just
2
point of
weeks,
order,
right?
it's on the
sorry,
table.
sorry,
I'm just
Yep.
saying.
it's Tony's fault. I
Oh,
wouldn't
it's your
have said
fault. Blaming you. Blaming you tonight on that.
Your fault this
All
time,
right,
Bruce.
let's go to agenda item number 22C, resolution relative to authorizing release of $2,700,000 from the school construction capital reserve fund to reimburse SAU number 30 for expenses incurred in the Laconia High School construction project. This is something we have covered. For the record, I'm happy to cover it again, just to make sure we're, the city council meeting of May 12th, 2025, a motion was made to approve resolution 2025-17 relative to authorizing the release of $2.7 million from the school construction capital reserve fund to reimburse SAU 30 for expenses incurred at the Laconia High School construction project. Renovations completed at the high school included ventilation improvements to classrooms and other areas throughout the building, bathroom renovation, kitchen upgrades. Total cost of the project was $10 million. The bulk of this was paid from federal funds. The local cost is $2,700,000. Because no public hearing was held on this matter, city staff recommends a public hearing be scheduled for June 9th, 2025, at the council meeting held that night, at which time the city council can reaffirm its vote to approve the resolution as presented. Fiscal impact is $2.7 million coming out of this fund, leaving a balance of approximately $61,400. So right now, I'd be looking for a motion to move to schedule a public hearing on June 9th, 2025, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Councilor Felch, seconded by Councilor Hoffman. Is there any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. There is no non-public tonight, and I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 8:36 p.m. Thank you all very much. Katie? Mr. Smith? Thank you.